Hello everyone that's new to SmartSuite library, and in particular welcome to people contemplating SmartSuite library, the most innovative, feature rich, easy to use, and definitely the most cost effective, all-inclusive library system in Australia and available globally as well. First of all, it's totally web-based, and today we're going to walk you through, if you were a new user and you were given your URL and a login, we're going to talk about new user training. Okay, now one thing that always comes up is we have a competitor out there peddling the concept of a homepage. And basically they say that if you have a home page, then you can put all sorts of fancy new information for the library and people come here for everything library. Let me just address that right up front, and then you decide whether you actually need a home page. But more importantly, do your patrons need a home page? Okay, I'm not sure if you are old enough to remember Yahoo. Yahoo was the search engine of choice more than 20 years ago. And these are all the different home pages. Basically, pages full of junk. Okay? When in actual fact, all you wanted was a search engine to just put a search in there and go ahead and find something. Find anything. But it was so filled up with a whole bunch of extra garbage that it was an insult to the person who just simply wanted to search for something specific. And then, of course, what happened was Google came along. And Google said, no, we're not going to put all this extraneous rubbish on our page. If you want anything, tell us what you want. Okay? And we will go ahead and then bring up, based on relevancy, anything to do with the actual search that you want, and you can go into the second page and third page and fourth page and so forth and so on. And that is why almost overnight, landing pages that just filled up with extraneous stuff and people having to go and then find information just turned off and didn't even use this, and you'll know that Yahoo just disappeared overnight. Okay, that's what we've done. We've taken the Google approach, and instead of giving you a home page, and you can have a home page, and you can have a very sophisticated home page. You'll be amazed at what some schools have done with a home page, but they are in the minority. But for those who want it, it's available. Generally, what we recommend is, why not just have all your results come up automatically whenever anyone logs in? So you can have a home page, or you can have a school's results page here. Now, what this page is, this is how anyone approaching your library system can look like. And this item here was the very latest addition to the school's collection. So if I added a book, that book will appear here and everything will shuffle down one. If I added 2 books or 20 books, they'll appear all up here and everything will shuffle down. So if I scroll down, it'll load the next page and the next page and the next page and the next page and so forth and so on. But you can still search. You can just go cat and bring up cat. You can go and search for doll. Okay. You can search for anything, and you don't even have to specify that I want it in the title, I want it in the subject, I want it in the author. See, you can if you want to, but you don't have to. So when you go ahead and you do a search, we do something that no other library system does, a very sophisticated search. Most of our competitors will give you the result, says, give me anything with cat in it, and then order it by title, and with the order within title by location, or then by sublocation, then by call number, then by all this kind of absolutely irrelevant stuff that has made a lot of libraries irrelevant. What we've done is we say, tell me what you want, and I'll find the material based on relevancy and based on what other people have been searching for. Okay, so it's a relevancy search, and that's what's there. Now, in the results page, you can actually define how that page looks. Okay, so this is an out of the box. So if you went and installed and didn't do any changes, this is an out of the box collection. If you want to change, there's a whole host of ways you can change it. Okay, so you can change it like this. Okay, and then if you're interested in a particular thing, click on that and the information will come up here. Okay, or going back to our original screen, which is the home page, if I go ahead and do a search of cat, okay, and I look for a book, there's all the bibliography. If I want to reserve it, that's where I reserve it. If I want to write a review on it, that's where I do it. If I want to have a look at the availability or how many reserves or any information, I can look at that. If I want to build a list and then give a list of resources to a teacher or a student or a parent, I can do it through here. Okay, so very, very powerful, very simple, and anyone from a prep to a professor in a university, and our system also runs within universities, can just put in what they want and get the information they want. Okay, so very easy to do, and you can choose a home page or you can choose just the OPAC page as the landing page. Very simple, and you can talk to us and we'll more than happily show you how you can not only change the OPAC, you can change the color, you can change the background, you can change the information that's displayed. It's so flexible, it'll blow your mind. You might even want to ask us for a YouTube training on just setting up OPAC. We're happy to do that. Next thing we're going to do is, okay, you're new. So what's the first thing you need to do? If you are new and this is the first time you've logged in, the first thing you need to do is you need to set up your authority files, okay, according to the way you want to work. All right, so to get to authority files, you click on the menu button, click on configuration, and click on authority editor. If you don't have those options when you've logged in, you can only do all of these once you're logged in. If you don't have these options, it's because you don't have the authority to get in there, which we'll deal with when we go into the patron record. But you need to be able to get to the authority editor, and in the authority editor, the setting and authority file is exactly the same. So what authority files do I need to set? Start off with the class grade. So click on that and it's all alphabetical. So we'll go to class grade. Make sure that you've got all the correct class grades in here. If you haven't got the correct class grades, you can put in there and go prep and go add. So now you've got a prep class grade. So there's all your class grades. And once you've gone in there and created a prep class grade, you then have to go and edit that particular one by clicking on the pencil, and that will show you all the parameters. Okay, now we've got a security code, and the security code should correspond with the year level. So if it was a year 1, security is 1. If it's a year 5, security is 5. It's a year 12, security is 12. If it's a teacher, well, you don't make it a 13. If it's a teacher, make them 50, 50. If it's an administrator of the library or librarian, then you should make it 999. Okay, so teachers are 50, administrators are 999. Final borrowing date is when you want all the books back into the system. The expiry date is work out when you're going to be leaving the school, add another 20 years to it and make that the expiry date, because you'll never use that, but the system requires it. The only time that expiry date becomes important is year 12s. Year 12s don't come back to school after the 15th of July. So you would say, I want these year 12s to be expired on the 15th of July. So if someone's still hanging around the school on the 16th of July and they come to the library to borrow books, you know they're not coming back. You're going to lose those books. So automatically the circulation will say, don't lend it to Michael. He's expired. And you can override that at circulation time, but that's what it's used for. Okay, so for most people it's irrelevant, so give it at least another 20 years after your retirement date, and then you never have to worry. Just set it for year 12. The loan limit, how many books they can borrow. The loan period, how many days they can borrow it for. If you allow them to renew their overdues on the web, they can renew their overdue once. Or you can say, no, they can renew it 3 times without bringing it back into the school. That's what that's for. If they renew it, how many days can they renew it for? That's what that is. If I allow them to do reservations on the web from home or wherever, they can reserve only 2 books at a time. Can they have multiple copies of the same book? Should always be no, except for teachers. Teachers can have multiple copies of the same book. Now, patron override, what does that mean? Patron override means that if they can have a book for 300 days, you should only do it for the teachers. So the teacher can override and borrow that book for 300 days. However, if the book was a 7-day loan period and it was a student and you said loan period of 14 days or 300 days, they can only have it for the 7 days according to the book. However, if I say no, but the patron is a teacher, so therefore they can override, that's what that's for. Okay. Now, you need to set those parameters up for every class grade on the system. The next authority you need to also enter is the homerooms. So click on the homerooms and you'll just put in the name of the homeroom and that's it. What other information is there for the homeroom? Nothing. We just need the name. And that's all there is to it. Okay. The next thing that you need to do is you need to go in and put in all your locations. So if you go down to your locations, this is where whenever you're cataloging a book, it'll ask you what location is it going in. So you can put in your locations there. Any other additional information about the location? No. We just need to have the name so people can choose a location in the cataloging area. So that's another authority entry. What other authority entry you need to enter is the sublocation. The sublocation is, the location is the library, but the sublocation is the fiction collection. Okay, the location is the library, the sublocation is the teacher's reference collection. That's entirely up to you. Some people do it the other way. The location is the fiction collection in the library as a sublocation, or the sublocation is the A3 classroom or the staff room. It's up to you. And if you don't want to use any, just put an NA for not applicable. It's a good idea to subdivide the collection into locations and then sublocations within that. So that's the next authority entry. The next authority entry, which is very, very important before you start using the system, is the loan type. The loan type is daily, fortnightly. So, okay, I've got another one here called term 1 loan. Okay, and that's it. So it's a term 1 loan. So what are the parameters in the term in those areas is how many days they can borrow it for. So if I say the term 1 loan is actually 100 days, okay, I can then turn and say yes, but in term 1 for 2021, okay, the final borrowing date for term 1 is the 17th of March. So if you come to borrow a book on the 1st of February, it'll calculate 100 days, except it'll then say, yes, but that 100 days exceeds that. So the final borrowing date, I have to cut it back to the 17th. That's what that's for. Okay. And then you can just go save. And that's what you need to do for all your loan types. Okay. The next authority entry is the renewal types. Okay. So if you go down here and you'll go renewal type, and again, that's exactly the same. You can put in your renewal type, and once you've put in, you click on there, okay, it is 14 days, and you can put in the final borrowing date. So if you renew it, yes, I can renew it for 14 days. However, it cannot exceed this particular date. And you can just click that pencil and edit the final borrowing date if you wanted to, and then click save. All right. So that's the renewal type. The last thing that you want to do with all your authority entries before you start using the system is if you're a TV for education user, this becomes very important. And in here, you want to go all the way down and video default security. Okay. Now, basically what this is saying is that if a teacher adds an M-rated video, what year level can watch M-rated videos. So that's saying year 10s. If a teacher adds an MA video, then it's only for staff members because that's a security of 50. If it's a PG, then you have to be at least a year 6 to be able to watch it. If it's a G, anyone can watch it. If it's an R-rated video, then not even teachers can watch it. Only the administrators can watch it. And the reason for that is you want to make sure that R-rated stuff doesn't, well, it'll get added to the catalog if a teacher adds it, but even the teacher won't be able to look at it. And then that gives you the authority to go to the head of department or talk to the individual teacher and say, hey, Michael, why are you putting R-rated rubbish on our system? Or please explain. Or go to the department head or go to the principal and say, look, I've got a belligerent teacher called Michael Fernandez, and he's adding R-rated stuff to our system. I've spoken to him. You need to address that with him. So that's what that is for. Whenever content from TV for Education is added, there's a safeguard that only certain year levels, and you can change that. So if you say no, the M's, it's okay for year 9s. Okay, so year 9s can have that, and by default, and the MAs, it's all right for year 12s. Now, bearing in mind, okay, no matter what you set, if you set that MAs was teachers only, M's were teachers only, the teacher can override an individual item for a particular group for a particular period of time. So there's nothing stopping you from making it 50s and 50s, which is only teachers, and say to the teachers, I don't want it hanging on my system, just carte blanche for year 9s and above. I'm going to make it 50, but you can go ahead and take that video and distribute it. But you're responsible because the system will track who you've done it for. Okay, so that's authority file. So once you've done that, the next thing we need to do is, before you start using the system, we now need to put in the SKIS username and password so you can SKIS catalog. And the way you would do it is you'll go to your menu, you'll come down to catalog, and you'll go into global catalog. When you go into global catalog, this is where you will tell the system what your SKIS username and password is. You only ever do it once. And then once it's in there, you never touch it again. So that's your SKIS cataloging, which we'll deal with later. But to put the parameters in, where it says configuration, there is an up arrow. Click on the up arrow and it says Z3950 database. You click on that, and in where it says SKIS, you'll put in your SKIS username. Then you'll go into your password and you'll type in your password, which you'll never see, okay, because it's encrypted. And then you'll go save or update. And that's how the system knows what to do when it approaches SKIS. The last parameter before you can use the system is setting up default spine labels, and you do it in the SKIS program. So if you need to set up your default spine label that you use, again, come down to the configuration, go across to the up arrow, click on that, and you'll go to default spine label. When you click on default spine label, it says, what is your default spine label? So you can go ahead and say my default spine label is one of these, okay? And if it's not here, tell us what it is, because if we've done a spine label for that, we'll put it in there for you. Then all you do is you click that and then you go save. And that's set. And now you're ready to do anything. And by the way, if you SKIS catalog, you can go, say you've got 60 books of SKIS catalog, you'll go ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode, and you'll do it 60 times. And when you've gone and cataloged your 60 SKIS books, when you hit that print button, it will automatically print out all your spine labels in the order that it was cataloged, with a little option that will appear on the bottom here that says how many blank labels have you already used, so I can skip them and start from the 17th spine label or the 27th spine label. Okay, that's all set up. Now, whenever you set all these parameters, it's a good idea to click on the menu button, click on search, go to schools collection to bring up the default landing page if it's the OPAC page, or the home page is OPAC, and that will set the entire system ready to go. Okay, so Now what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to add a patron, change a patron, delete a patron. Very, very easy. You click on menu and you'll click on patron and you click on patron management. Whenever you click on patron management, it will always bring up your record that you've logged in. I'm logged in as lib, that's why it brought up lib. And you go, but I don't want to touch lib. That's okay. So click on find and type in Smith. Okay, and it'll bring up all the Smiths. So click on the Smith that you want, and now you can go ahead and change their information. Okay, and if you want to delete a patron, bring them up and then go delete, and then you'll click the delete button. Okay, now let me just bring up another patron over here, and let me see who I can find. That's a good patron here. So I've got Abby in there. Now, if you wanted to put a patron in, you'll need to give them a barcode. Okay, then you need to give them a surname, a first name. Oh, that's already used. So let me just give them another. Okay, so that's my name. You need to give them a first name, a surname, a class grade, and a homeroom. And then you'll say that this particular patron, by default, whenever you create a patron on the system, they will be as a student. Okay, so we'll say they are in year 8 and homeroom, they are in that homeroom, and then you can just go save. So you can set up a patron that way. What you can also do is you can do this. You can say, all right, I've got their admin number as their barcode, and I'm going to also give them a username. Okay, Control C, and I'm going to paste that as their username, full stop. It can be anything, but I'm just going to recommend something for you to consider. So you can create a username made up of their first name, full stop, surname. If you do, and when you save that, what's going to happen, Abby can log in with their barcode, or they can log in with their username, or they can log in with this. Okay, so Abby has 3 ways to log into the system, and it is going to ask them for a password. So you do need to give her a password. You go change password, and the password is password, and then go change password. So now Abby can log in with password. So if you're a prep school, you can make everybody's password the same. We can set everyone's password. You tell us what you want it to. Or you can say, no, everyone's password's password, except they need to change it on the first time they log in. Just change it to yes and go save. And what's now going to happen is when Abby logs in, it's going to ask her for her password. Okay, and that's how they log in. If Abby was a teacher, all you need to do is get rid of the student role and make sure that you've got her down as a teacher. If you set her as a teacher and save that, when they log in, they'll get the TV, but they will not get all the library functions. They'll just get that and the TV for education, so they can add content. Okay, and you can click email the login. When you click email the login, what will happen is Abby will get a welcome letter, get some training notes, and give her access to TV for education. But Abby's not a teacher. Abby is actually a library staff member. So you can say she's a librarian. Okay, and get rid of teacher. Now what happens when Abby logs in, she'll get TV for education, but she'll also get most of these functions out there. Okay, but Abby is not a librarian. Abby is a retired librarian, and she's come to help the school library out on certain days of the week. And you can say Abby's a circulation desk operator. She's not a librarian. So now what will happen is she won't get TB for education, but when she goes here, she won't get all of these, but she'll get just circulation. So you can choose the role that you want to give Abby and just go save, and she is off and running. So you can add a new patron, delete a patron, do whatever you like in the system, and that's how the system runs, okay, for patrons. All right, we're now going to go into cataloging. I want to catalog a book. So to catalog a book, you go to menu, you go down to catalog, and you go to catalog. And it, just like the patron record brought you up a patron that you were logged in, the catalog will bring up the last book that you were working on, and you can go, no, I want to add a new record. So you just go new, and that'll bring up the record for you. Or you can go find, if you want to fix a particular record, and you type in the search and it'll come up with all the books, and you go, yeah, Matthew Flinders Cat, that's the one I wanted, okay? And what can happen in here is you can then go and say, let's check the author, let's check the illustrator, let's check the subjects, let's check the series, let's check the editor, let's check the publisher. And you can go and change anything you like in here, except you go, but that's not the order. I don't do the basic, then I do additional title, then I do author, illustrator, subject. I want to change that. So if you want to change the order of what that screen looks like, click on that settings, and you can move anything around, and then just hit the save button, and that'll save it, okay? So to work on an existing record, use the find. If you want to add a new record, just click on new, and it says okay, and what it'll do is give you a blank screen. You just fill in the information that you want, okay? And then click save at the end. That's all there is to adding a new record. However, if you've got an ISBN number for the book, why not just paste the ISBN number? It's still new, but you notice I haven't filled anything in. I've got none of this information, all blank, okay? But I've gone in here, I just put in the ISBN number, and if I hit that Wi-Fi button, guess what happens? It says it's now been successfully imported from SKIS, and I go, is it? Okay, and there it is. It's added all the information, okay? So there's the author, there's the subjects. Is there series? No series. Is there notes? No, yeah, just Viking in the notes. Is there a genre? Oh, Australian stories. So it will fill in everything by just putting that ISBN number and hitting that button. And now all you do is you go to the copy area, and you zap in your barcode, zap in your availability, the location, the sublocation, the loan period, renewal period, and go save. You go, yeah, but I want to put in the price. Yep, so expand that plus button, okay? And you can put in the cost, you can put in the cost center, you can put in the supplier, anything to do with that, you can put that in there, okay? And then you can go save. And that's how simple it is to catalog a book using original cataloging, or finding the book and then go delete title. Now, be careful. So let me just go back to the very first record in my collection. It says, are you sure you want to leave that? So there, 100 people. If I go delete title and I put yes and confirm the deletion, it's going to delete that entire record. Danger. Because if you've got multiple copies and you actually only want to delete this, it's going to delete everything, including all these copies. That's what delete title means. But if you want to delete just this one, expand that and now go delete, and it'll delete just that one. Okay? And by the way, if this was a laptop, why not click on the asset button for that particular copy and put in all the information about that asset? Okay? And you can, if it's been repaired, why not put a maintenance record in there? And if it's a box of books, why don't you build a kit out of it? So you can do a lot in that copy area. Okay? So that's all about original cataloging. But now we come to SKIS. How do I SKIS catalog? Well, I showed you how to do just one book. Okay? And if you got 3 books or 5 books, there's nothing stopping you from going new, zap in your ISBN number, click on that button, the record's been imported, and then just go into the copy, put in the barcode, location, sublocation, save, and then go back into new, okay? Sorry. Go back into new, put in the ISBN number, and do the same thing, and the same thing, and same thing. Long-winded way. But if you want to SKIS catalog, much faster to go here, go to catalog, and instead of catalog, go to global catalog. And what you would do here is that you'll put in the location, the sublog, all that information about the copy. You put that in here, and then you will go ISBN and barcode. The next ISBN and barcode. And then you'll go the next ISBN and the barcode, and the next ISBN and the barcode, and the next ISBN and the barcode. And you do not have to wait for the thing to catch up. It's doing a whole bunch of stuff in the background. So you can just go ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode. And if there is an ISBN that you put in, a barcode that you put in, and it doesn't exist, it'll tell you this doesn't exist. Just put it into a box that says not on SCIS yet. Come back to it later. Okay? And that's all there is to SCIS cataloging. And if you want to print your spine label, because you've already set up the default spine label, you just go print, and it will print your spine labels in the order that you enter them in. And you go, I want to start printing at label 17. Okay? And then just go generate. And that'll print from the 18th one. You left 17 blanks. Okay? If you want to circulate, now that you've set up everything, menu, circulation, and play around to your heart's content. So you enter the patron barcode, then the item, next patron barcode, item. If you don't know the patron barcode, put in the first character of their name, or put in Scott, or put in Mike, or whatever, and any reason will come up here. You can override, and then their name will come up, their record will come up, their photo will come up if you got it, and they just zap in the barcode. Or you can just go Smith, and you can go John Smith, and if they got overdues or anything, I'll tell you. Okay, so there's a loan. All the red are overdues, and this one over here, that is a book that they claim they returned. Say, I can't lend it to you because you got Matthew Flinders' cat. He says, no, I returned it. I put it on the shelf. If you accept that, put a tick in there and just go, he claimed he returned it. Put in any message you like. Go OK. And now all of a sudden, so he's got 2 claimed returns. Okay. And now he can borrow another book. But every time you call him up, it's going to tell you that these books, he claimed he returned it. Don't believe him anymore. That's up to you. Okay, if you want to return books, just click on return, zap in all the barcodes of the books, and that's how you return stuff. Okay, if you want to do a loan for this particular person, and say, look, I can't loan you any books because you got overdues. Can I have a print of my overdues? You can go, absolutely. So you go, please choose, and you want an overdue items list. Just click on that menu. And what will happen is it'll bring up the overdues. There they are. And you can go print. Or you can say, how about I send that to your mom? Yes, please. So just click on the email, put on the subject, Dear Mrs. Smith, can you please chase up the following books of your child and who you're going to send it to. So put in the email address of the mom and just go send. And that's all there is to emailing or producing that list. Okay. If the child is leaving and not coming back, you want to do a list of all his current loans. Instead of overdue items, just choose current loans, not loan history, current loans. When you click that, exactly the same, it'll bring up all their current loans on the system, and you can print or email the items. Okay. Now, the last thing we're going to do is, well, I've got all the system. I haven't sent any overdues out. I need to send overdues. Easy as anything. Click on the menu button, click on reports, and I would encourage you to please play with as many reports as you like. You will not waste time, you will not waste paper, you will not waste resources, and it'll teach you a heck of a lot. So I'm just going to do one kind of report, which is overdues. So click on reports and overdues. So click on overdues and overdues by homeroom, because I'm going to send the reports to the teacher. I can do it by patron, by classification, but I'm going to do it by homeroom or by classification, because we don't use homerooms in our school. We only use classification. So click on classification and go open. and it says choose your class grade. Well, I'm going to choose my year 12s. There it is, year 12. Just click out of there and it'll show you year 12. And you can go generate. And there's my year 12 reports. Okay. Now you can say, oh, that's my Patron, Oliver Boo, Mike Scott, John Smith. I want to send this to the year 12 teacher. So you can print it, but every report can be emailed. So you just go email and you put in the email teacher's email address, and you can go, Jack, please chase these overdues for me. And then you just go send now. And if you click here, it'll confirm that. Okay. However, you can say, you know what? I'm going to make a schedule out, and starting on the 28th, weekly at 1 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to schedule that to be weekly. So once you've done that, you never ever have to send the overdue for year 12s to the overdue teacher, because they'll get it automatically by email. Okay. So if you can do that by year 12, why can't I send a nice letter to all my students that have overdue, and why can't it be automatic? You will be amazed at how much you can automatically set up so you can spend your time as a true professional librarian building your collection and making your collection more discoverable by tagging information on the system. But that's a more advanced session. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've learned a lot, and I hope you feel that I can just log in and go ahead and do whatever I need to do. Thank you very much for the opportunity to do new user training in SmartSuite Live.